Hey everyone, this is me, TimeLiarG, and welcome to a Sonic Adventure Iceberg chart. This is going to be an unscripted video. It's not going to be very professional, but I will most certainly do my best. Also, I'm not going to actually be showing the iceberg. I'm just going to be reading off the topics and putting subtitles on the video for every topic that we're going to be speaking of. And speaking of the iceberg charts though, I got these from a few iceberg charts, and I've also added some of my own concepts in there, some of my own experience as a kid playing this game, and just stuff like that. Even in recent years too, I've had some weird stuff happen with Sonic Adventure, but anyway, yeah, I decided to make a little unscripted iceberg video here because everybody else is doing it, although theirs is going to be way more professional, most likely. Either way, it's almost Halloween, so definitely time for spooky business here, so let's get into the iceberg. So our first one on the list here isn't really that spooky, but actually, never mind, it is. Sonic Adventure DX differences. So SADX differences is just the differences between the Dreamcast version of Sonic Adventure and the Director's Cut Edition, which is on the GameCube and PC, which all three versions are actually different, believe it or not. And now they call it a Director's Cut as if it's like an improvement or something, but Sonic Adventure DX, when I played the Dreamcast version as a kid and then I got it for GameCube, I have to say that was like the weirdest thing for me because they basically ruined everything. It could be its own video, me talking about this, but everything in Sonic Adventure DX is so low quality compared to the original on the Dreamcast, it's actually incredible. I definitely recommend checking out some stuff about that online, but I can't really explain it here, otherwise I'd be bitching about the DX version for who knows how long, probably a few hours. Yeah, all the textures are messed up, the character models look way too shiny, there's some misplaced objects, and there's even more glitches in the DX version, so yeah, it's best to just play the original on the Dreamcast, or you can download Sonic Adventure DX, our better Sonic Adventure DX, for PC on Steam, which is a pretty good mod, which I believe the creator of that stopped working on it, but there's also another one called Dreamcast Conversion, which I'd recommend checking that one out too. This isn't like a promotion or anything, this is just me recommending which versions to play basically and which mods to download. This one drove me crazy when I was younger. This is the Casinopolis statue, which can be built with enough rings in Casinopolis, or you can just find it as Knuckles already built. To build this giant gold statue of Sonic, you need 500 rings for the feet, and then you need 1,000 rings for the body. And then you need 5,000 rings for the head. I hope I got those numbers correct. It was just off the top of my head. I think that's correct. That should be correct. Yeah, you can basically build a giant gold statue of Sonic for some reason in Casinopolis. It's basically just a fun Easter egg. It doesn't really do anything. But you can just build a giant gold statue. And you know what? I'm going to give advice to people that are watching this if they want to go build the gold statue themselves. You need at least 2 or 3 hours of free time, unless you can do it faster than I did. You kind of just stick to the left wall, I believe. I'm trying to visualize this in my mind. Stick to the left wall, go through the left vent. When you're in the first vent, go left, and then go straight forward when you reach the second vent. And that should give you around 300 rings every time you come up to the shower room. So I'm not really sure how much has changed during the development of Sonic Adventure, but Sonic RPG is the prototype name for the game. I don't really know if Sega Sonic Team were planning to call it Sonic RPG or if that's just like a placeholder. I don't even remember where I read this from, but I do remember reading it off some really old forum back in the day. I don't know where I got this from. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weirding me out now. Yeah, Sonic RPG is just a prototype name for Sonic Adventure, and I can definitely see the RPG elements in the game with the storylines, multiple storylines and the upgrades. Basically just things like that, and plus the hub world is pretty RPG-like, I'd say. Sonic Jam's assets, so there's really not much to say about this one either, but there's basically models in the game that were left over from Sonic Jam on the Saturn. I haven't actually played that game that much. It's kind of just like a collection of the older games and some, concept art and basically other old Sonic art, and it's basically a virtual museum that you could get on the Saturn for Sonic, which I didn't own it for that long, and I didn't play it for that long either. And this was way in the past, so I don't really remember much about it, but I do know that Sonic Jam's models were reused for Sonic Adventure, and then they decided against that because in earlier versions of Sonic Adventure you could definitely see the Sonic Jam models in there, but they kind of just upgraded them a bit and tweaked them, and they are what they are. They are no longer Sonic Jam models, but they're based off of them, so Yeah. Downloadable content. I don't really know why this is on the Iceberg because this one really isn't that mysterious, but you could just download content back in the day on the Dreamcast. You could just download extra DLC for Sonic Adventure, which were Christmas event, Halloween event, and certain like special trials and promotions and advertisements for different companies and everything. And there were some other ones too, which I can't remember. There was a Japanese holiday one, but yeah, there was a bunch of downloadable content in Sonic Adventure. Also, there's some for the Chows too. I believe you get something called a Moon Chow for like 30 emblems or something. I guess I could go into detail about that. I don't really feel like it, but I guess I will. So you could buy a whole variety of Jewel Chow from the black market via like downloading it. So I believe you need like different numbers of emblems to get different kinds of Chows. I think the Moon Chow is 30 emblems. And all the rest of them should be around like 10 or 20. Yeah, you could download DLC events, you could download stuff relating to Chow. You could do a whole bunch of stuff on the Dreamcast. You could download a whole bunch of stuff. And I should mention that this was in 98. This obviously wasn't on the DX version. You can't actually download anything for the DX version. It was only in 1998 on the Dreamcast. Obviously 2001 as well. 2001 as well for Sonic Adventure 2. But that's pretty irrelevant. Alright, let me see what this one says. Beta Windy Valley. So this is kind of like the Sonic Jam situation where this is kind of just like a prototype. It's not a leftover from Sonic Jams, but it is a prototype for Windy Valley. It's just an early stage concept. It looks a whole lot different. And, you know, I think in the intro to Sonic Adventure, you can see Big the Cat in Windy Valley. Or maybe that was one of the Dreamcast tutorials. I can't really remember. Apparently there was going to be other characters in Windy Valley early on. And it was, I wouldn't say the stage looked bigger, but it had like more wide open spaces. You should definitely look into it. It's pretty cool. Unlocking Sonic. So I think this is implying an unused string of text in the game that says you have unlocked Sonic or you can now play as Sonic, where, you know, you start the game as Sonic so you can never actually see this. I'm assuming at like an earlier point you might have actually been able to play as a different character first, which would make sense. But yeah, overall you can just play as Sonic first and then unlock the rest of the cast through his story. Or other character's story for that matter, but yeah. The Man 3 is just a simple poster for a movie that doesn't actually exist as far as I'm aware. But yeah, there's this weird poster that you can find near the casino during the Egg Walker fight, and I can't really remember, but I believe it appears somewhere else in like a different scene. But yeah, the Man 3 is just a movie poster. Who knows what that movie is or what it would be like, I don't know. But it's just like a man in a tuxedo, if I recall, with a bunch of other men behind him. The Amy reflection. So I have no idea what this one's implying or what it means, but you know, there's a mirror room in Twinkle Park that you go through as Amy, and you can kind of see yourself in the mirror there. I just don't really, the Amy reflection, I don't know. Yeah, you can see Amy in a reflection, I guess. Good for you. It's not really a fucking mystery or anything, but it's okay, yeah. As much as I want this to be true, I really don't think it is, but there is that slight possibility that they thought of inhibitor rings before Sonic Adventure 2 and before Sonic X. So, you know, Amy Rose wears these rings around her wrist. I never even really thought about it. But yeah, I mean, those really do look like inhibitor rings, the same ones that Shadow wears. Which, I mean, if you really think about it, why would Amy Rose need inhibitor rings? Like, Shadow needs it just because he's so powerful and he's kind of like artificial in a way. You know, he's like created by Black Doom and, you know, Gerald Robotnik, but like Amy Rose is, I'm fairly certain she's completely natural. I don't think she has any reason to wear inhibitor rings. But maybe they were thinking about a concept like that even before Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic X were released. It's really, really interesting to think about. Not gonna lie, it's really interesting. Well, I'm gonna have to get past the censors on this one, so let's just say egg carrier commit die. So this one I believe is talking about Gamma. At least I think it's talking about Gamma, because I don't think anybody does that on the on the egg carrier. So in Gamma's story, he's just going around trying to save all the animals from his robot brothers, which, I mean, the animals are inside of them and he knows what he has to do. So he goes around to all of his robot friends and just destroys them to free the animals, right? And then in the final moments, he reads off a list of all the robots that he needs to kill. And on the last on the list is E101 Beta and then himself. So after he kills E101 Beta, he kind of falls over and blows up, which he was going to do that anyway because he wanted to free the animal that was inside of him too. So yeah, I think that's all that this one is. It's just relating to Gamma's story and what he has to do to free the animals. You know, it's kind of weird too, because I could really go into detail about what I think about the lore of the game and everything like that, because, you know, I always thought that it was Gamma himself that had full control over his body, and he knew that there was animals inside of him that he got to free, but other people seem to think that it's the animal inside of him that's controlling the robot, which I don't like to think of it that way, because that would ruin his character a little bit. But yeah, that's all that this topic was about. It's just about how Gamma went around and freed all the animals. Mystic Ruin Shack. So if you wanted to see what was inside the little shack in Mystic Ruins, I just got no clip on and I went right into the shed, the little shed out in the back there. There's nothing inside of there, and I don't think any character talks about it, so it's just like a little background element, you know, just something to spice up the place. Unless it did have a purpose in the beta of, you know, Sonic Adventure. Like, I wouldn't say beta because I think people have the beta covered at this point, but just earlier on in development it might have had a use. It's just this small little shack that you can go in and explore. There's really not much to do in there, and honestly, you know, it took me a long time to get inside this shack, so if you could please leave a like on this video, that would be highly appreciated, because I just went through the effort, 25 minutes of effort trying to get into this shed, so, you know. This one says Burger Statue is alive, which it's not. One of the other characters tells you. I think it's a little girl that tells you this, that says it's a statue. And I mean, it doesn't really move around or do anything, so don't really know what the deal is there. Tails Ghost. Now, I have a theory on what this one's talking about, and I think it's just the way Tails spawns in sometimes when you're playing as Sonic and you've, you know, already beat Tails' story, or you've already beat Sonic's story, where, you know, you have Tails following you around and everything, so I've seen this happen a few times personally, specifically in Lost World when I'm playing as Sonic, and I've nearly completed the stage. I got away from the boulder, and once you escape that boulder, like, Tails kind of spawns above you and just stares blankly, just hovering above you. I don't think I can get footage of this, but I can definitely try to, so I might not have an image for this one. But yeah, that's basically what that one is. It's really nothing too special. It's just a Tails glitch, unless I'm mistaking this Iceberg image and it means something completely different, and there is actually some type of creepy Tails doll business going on in Sonic Adventure. But you know, someone needs to make a Sonic R Iceberg so I can read that off too, because I'd love to see some Sonic R ones. And I unironically actually like Sonic R, by the way. That's one I've actually had when I was younger on the GameCube Gems collection. I didn't have it on Saturn, but I got the Saturn when I was a little bit older. But yeah, Sonic R was still a part of my childhood, so I would like to see one of that. It's still Tails Ghost. I don't know what it is. I don't know, unless it is what I was talking about. Blue Fog of Death. So this one is kind of weird. I don't know what it's referring to. It could be referring to the out of bounds area, where if you somehow make it outside of the map and pass the kill plane, kill barrier, you can somehow just be alive down there, just stuck in this blue void. I don't know if I can get footage of that, but I can definitely try to. But yeah, pretty weird. I don't know if that's what it's referring to. That's just my thoughts on it. Mystic Ruins Brain. What the fuck? Wait, what? This one isn't actually part of the Iceberg, but I thought I'd add it here anyway. I'm kind of just trinkling my own, you know, theories, concepts, ideas into the Iceberg video itself, so some of these are just, you know, not being read off the Iceberg. There's this one dragon in Sky Chase. I forgot if it's the second or first act, but there's this giant mechanical dragon, I'm assuming it's Robotnik's, that would have chased you and breathed fire at you. And I think it had 2 or 3 heads. I can't actually visualize it right now. But there's this unused dragon that would have actually fought you, and I assume you fight it as well. You can actually hack the model back in, and you can give it its animations back, at least some of its animations, and it can still chase you throughout the entire level, which it's pretty interesting. But besides that, there's not really much else to say about it. Egg carrier visible from Station Square. That's a pretty interesting one, because I know there's an NPC that says you can see the egg carrier from Station Square, but you actually can't. I just assume it's one of those things that was early in development that they changed, which I don't know. I think it would personally ruin the view if you could see the egg carrier from Station Square. Maybe if it was flying, that would look pretty cool, like if you could see it over Station Square. But if it was like just stuck in the water, that would look really trashy. Like that would look really trashy having that right out in front of the ocean view. Well, that's going to be it for this video. If you guys want to see a part 2, then just tell me. Originally I was going to make this a 30-minute long video and just cover the entire iceberg and just add more to it. But something came up in my life and I can't really edit it at the moment, but I can definitely do it in the future. If you want to see a part 2, then I can probably do that. So yeah, just leave a dislike if you disliked it, and just leave a like if you enjoyed the video. But otherwise, I'm going to be out for now.